Those of us who are old enough to remember being alive circa 1980 remember when Atari's Missile Command ruled the world. We also understand why a perfect home conversion of the game has always been such a holy grail. Missile Command translated the real-world nuclear anxieties of the Cold War into a gripping test of skill. It captured the public imagination and became a legitimate pop culture hit. And because Missile Command debuted in arcades, the entire game was based around a control scheme that home consoles have had a tough time recreating. There have been many noble attempts through the years to recapture the essence of Missile Command, but without a trackball and 3 buttons, like you found on the coin-op cabinet, it's a tough act to pull off. Missile Command Recharged, which debuted on mobile platforms and now is on Switch, Epic Game Store, and Steam, is the first home adaptation I've found that really gets it right. Since it was designed around phones, Recharged makes use of a touchscreen interface for quick precision, a feature that, of course, makes the console conversion uniquely suited for Nintendo Switch. You can play Missile Command Recharged as a handheld game on Switch with a touch interface, but for those who prefer to play it on a big screen, you can also play it docked with traditional analog controllers. Both approaches have their advantages. The touchscreen mode allows you to target any point on the screen instantly. You tap and fire. Docked, you use the left analog stick to move a crosshair around to take aim instead. Obviously, this means you're slower to shift your aim from one side of the screen to the other, but on the other hand, the analog stick setup allows greater precision in terms of firing, since you can control each of your missile silo launches with a different button. In touchscreen mode, the game automatically selects the nearest silo to the point you've targeted. This works pretty well, but it does require you to take strategic care not to overcommit. Each silo has a set recharge time, and if the closest base is currently reloading, the game will fire from a different silo, which could be one on the opposite side of the screen, leaving you vulnerable to attacks in that area while that silo recharges. The versatility of the Switch version makes it the next best thing I found to playing an actual arcade cabinet. This isn't a direct port of the arcade game anyway, more like a faithful reimagining. Atari and developer Nickervision stick pretty close to the original Missile Command concept here, but they overhaul the game with a neon visual style that's about the closest you're likely to get to those nostalgic old-school CRT phosphor traces on a modern LCD screen. There's also a pulsing electronic soundtrack that manages to create a sense of anxiety as the action accelerates, while also being chill enough not to frazzle your nerves. It doesn't stray far from the classic Missile Command mechanics. Your control over the game consists of nothing more than launching defensive missiles to destroy incoming enemy warheads, which are trying to wipe out the 6 cities under your protection. Enemy bombs enter the screen from above, streaking in from all angles. The missiles you launch explode into a colorful circle once they reach the point you've targeted, and anything caught in the explosion also detonates into its own fireball, which can then take out other nearby missiles and set off chain reactions. In addition to the enemy bombs, you'll also have to deal with enemy bombers that glide across the screen dropping a string of ordnance, as well as smart bombs that will veer out of the path of your missiles and can only be taken out with a direct hit. Like the arcade game, it's meant to be a quick, high-score chase whose constantly escalating threats lead to an inevitable game over in just a few minutes. It's a pick-up-and-play diversion. Recharge does add a few additional twists to the gameplay to give players a few advantages. For starters, helpful bonus objects sometimes appear in the playfield and can be destroyed to gain a boost. These cycle slowly through different types, so you'll receive a different bonus depending on which letter is showing when the bonus object explodes. These perks only last a few seconds, but they're all helpful, ranging from a temporary shield over your cities to a screen-clearing super bomb to larger missile detonations. Even better, the points you earn from playing can be invested in the upgrades screen to improve your missile base's stats. You can upgrade 4 different attributes: the power of your missile detonations, the speed of your projectiles, the rate at which the bases recharge their attacks, and the speed at which a destroyed base regenerates. The upgrades start pretty cheaply and quickly rise in price, but upgrades are permanent across sessions. In other words, the more you play and the more you come back to the game, the more you can boost your performance, which leads to longer sessions and higher scores. Those scores can be uploaded to a leaderboard to compare against those of other players, which will no doubt provide a more impressive competition once the game goes live and it's not just advanced reviewers on the list. The simplicity and versatility of Missile Command Recharged makes it a perfect game for Switch, and it stands out on the system even amidst its massive library of arcade classics and quick-fix titles. There have been a lot of attempts through the years to spruce up Missile Command with new features like 3D visuals, but Recharged doesn't bother. This is a stripped-down, fast-paced, no-frills interpretation of an arcade classic with no real ambitions beyond giving players a test of skill to see how many points they can earn before inevitably being wiped out. It's challenging and just random enough to always keep you on your toes, and the upgrade system in which you trade the points you earn during play for missile enhancements gives it a great just one more try gameplay loop. Fundamentally, this is simply Missile Command, but with a stylish makeover and a touch of persistence and competition to keep it interesting beyond a single round of play. It's a great interpretation of an arcade classic and the next best thing to the original, and it's certainly a lot less trouble than trying to find and maintain an old arcade cabinet. Special thanks to Greenlit Content and Atari for sponsoring this video and providing advanced review code.